for students to onboard and really believe in AI as a new tech to support them. So that's one area of major leaps we're taking. Another area where we believe will help the diverse population of India is something called integrated curriculum. So integrated curriculum is basically where there are no restrictions to what subjects you learn and what sequence you learn those subjects. In a college setting, let's say engineering or medical college, it's very clear, it's very defined. Year one you do certain things, year two you do certain things, and then three, year four. But in medical education, while that is still the way it has been done, recently the NMC also mandated that there should not be such restrictions. Students should be able to keep learning the way they prefer to learn.
Hello, folks. Welcome to today's episode. We are glad to have Sabarish Chandrasekaran, the CEO and co-founder of MediSim VR, join us. A visionary entrepreneur and a recognized AI guru, Sabarish has been at the forefront of integrating cutting-edge technology with education. His work is reshaping the AI and EdTech landscape in India, driving innovation where it's needed the most. Sabarish is a tech entrepreneur and an AI advocate known for leveraging virtual reality and artificial intelligence to revolutionize healthcare, training, and education with deep passion for scalable, impactful solutions. He's on a mission to modernize India's learning ecosystem and make advanced simulation based education accessible nationwide. So tell me, Sabarish, was it an intro that actually encapsulates everything, or something else is there that you want me to introduce you with?
Hi, Nishant. Thank you for having me on this call. I'm excited to be a part. That was a great intro, a bit overflowing than what I'm actually capable of talking about, but I will do my best.
So, welcome once again. It is really a pleasure for us to host you. And without any further ado, let's start with the questions because, these questions are really in depth questions. So, these will definitely take some time. So,
Absolutely.
okay. So, my first question is India is witnessing an AI revolution in education. You also know about it. We also know about it. Even the government knows it. So, how do you envision future of learning in India now that AI is being integrated into classroom experiences, especially in tier two and tier three cities? Because we know that in tier one cities, things come fast. People get access to things fast. So, how do you think about it?
Nishant, I think, the entire education ecosystem is going to go through a major shift in terms of their orientation towards AI. Currently, it is being used as a tool, as an assistant methodology. But I think moving forward, it's going to play a very core role. And with the ability of personalized learning and personalized feedback that AI is able to exhibit, moving forward, I believe there is going to be more focus on mastery of skills and mastery of knowledge rather than having a very overall widespread understanding of many topics. I feel like students at a very young age, maybe like from fifth, sixth grade, will be able to, while learn about physics, math, and English as main subjects, will also be able to learn about certain skills or certain areas and certain domains of interest much more rapidly with the help of an AI assistant or maybe an AI powered tool. And interestingly, what this does is this also gives teachers finally some time and leverage to work on other areas of interest, other areas of key value and concern in the future. And I believe areas like context setting, confidence building, emotional intelligence, empathy, equity are all areas where teachers will also have more time to spend on. So I believe the integration of AI is going to be a major tectonic shift in the education ecosystem, and one that we should all be well prepared to harness. And I really, really look forward to the integration in the tier two, tier three ecosystem, because what that will do is once it is successfully integrated in the daily workflow, then that really eliminates the need for students to access big names, big institutions, or even state of the art facility to learn about topics of interest. Then the whole idea of campus and brick and mortar facilities will actually change. And the movement from tier two to tier three, and sorry, tier two and three to tier one will be a lot reduced in terms of need for education. And I think tier 2 and tier 3 cities will also provide a more balanced environment because tier 1 cities are more fast paced. And to a major extent, it also affects a child's learning and the schooling system as well. But those are areas where tier 2 and tier 3 will gain if AI is integrated in a very successful fashion.
Yeah, that was a really great answer because I had no idea about how it would be done. So, next question of mine is related to healthcare because with the limited reading that I have of AI, we have always come to know or we have seen that AI will transform healthcare like never before. So, with healthcare and medical education rapidly evolving, how is AI transforming the way healthcare professionals are trained, and how has it improved access to quality healthcare education across the country?
Absolutely. In fact, this is an area of solid work for us and very close to my heart as well. If you look at healthcare, post COVID 2020 scenario, I think the entire world understood the kind of burden we had put on the healthcare workforce. It is quite unfair and unreasonable what the healthcare ecosystem has to go through to provide the kind of care for a large volume country like India. And they've been doing all this for decades without the right support system, I would say, in terms of tech. But moving forward, what will majorly again change here is AI will affect healthcare training at the grassroots level. Usually when a major tech comes into the picture, it trickles down top to bottom. It goes on to the niche industries. It probably goes down into research, and then it opens up to the entire market. But I feel like in healthcare, since the need and the necessity is at the very root, grassroots level, I believe the impact it is making is much more larger, and the number of lives it is touching is much more wider. For example, when we train students on our VR platform, we use AI for protocol based learning, which means that today you don't need an instructor to stand next to a student and tell them what all has to be done in a particular procedure. It can be a simple procedure like inserting a catheter, cleaning a wound, or putting in an injection, right? But for an outsider, it's a simple procedure. But for someone, from the healthcare sector, that means that they have to do at least a bunch of things to do it right from patient interaction, right from documentation to getting the right instruments, and then actually performing the task. So there are multiple areas. Now, with AI integration in our simulation platform, what we do is once a student puts on the headset, there's an AI assistant that will virtually run along with them in the procedure. They'll be interacting with the virtual patient, and the assistant will tell them, keep prompting what is to be done. And if something that was done wrong, that's been captured, and then they give a feedback based on how they performed. So overall, in terms of competency assessment, AI is already playing a major role. It is impossible for an instructor to sit in a classroom or sit in a skill lab and watch 30, 40 students and understand the competency of each student. That is impossible to manifest. But with AI, now they're able to sit on their PC, look at a dashboard, understand everybody's performance. The dashboard, throws in the metrics. They get to understand the learning pattern as well of a particular cohort. So let's say that a particular cohort is very poor at patient interaction. Then the instructor calls them, steps in only for that particular interaction and talks about that. Or if they're great at instrumentation but really poor at documentation, that has been addressed. So I feel like overall competency of students is increasing. And another key thing that this relates to is the confidence. The more you know, the better you recall, the confident you become as a practitioner, as an healthcare giver. So we are seeing that a lot these days when we go to our VR labs in institutions. Previously, the same students who were like, "Hey, this is what is this gadget?" And now they're more like, this is part of my life. I love doing this. What is how can I do more in this? So the uptake is quite good. So I believe competency assessment, personalized learning, and better understanding of student learning pattern, all of these are areas where AI is already transforming healthcare training and healthcare education.
Yeah, actually, you gave a brilliant example of student, keeping those machines as a part of their life. They're just treating that another part of their life. So I'd like to give you an example from my life because I
Mhm.
was someone who wore the glasses. It was the power is around 6.75 diopter. So there, I was totally dependent on my glasses, and I had no idea what to do, how to move forward. But the LASIK surgery, especially the AI powered LASIK surgery, the precision it did, I was operated in 2023, and the with the precision that it did, it could not have been done with only human intervention and without any kind of AI. So yeah, I have seen it for myself that AI has transformed healthcare a lot. I've experienced it. So, like, my next question would be, what are some innovative ways your company is leveraging AI to personalize learning experience for students? I know that your company is working towards this. So, how does this address the unique needs of India's diverse student population, including those from rural backgrounds?
That's an excellent question. So for us, the major focus is content localization. It's an area where we are also learning on the field. Majorly, our content initially was fully in English. And then we understood that, this can work in maybe top tier one institutions. And if we have to go approach the rural segment, then we need to localize the content accordingly. And today we have a separate engine that works on taking our existing content and trying to create that into different languages, different dialects. In fact, we are also working with countries outside of India to address certain exclusive population as well and create, culturally relevant content. And these matter a lot because the first 2 years of of our training, we always used to have like a standard, white male who is the patient, right? And then we realized that the user is always like unfamiliar. They are made feel uncomfortable, and we didn't realize because we are always using it for years together. So we are seeing the same patient. We are okay with that. But when you take it to a tier two, tier three place, and you put on this headset, and then they are suddenly sitting in front of a white man, they're like, I have not seen a patient like this in my life before. So right from that, right from the color of the skin to the way the body is shaped, fit and form, I think all of this we are exploring differences today, and we're able to provide something. At least we're trying to provide something that is very familiar, that is very culturally relevant, and the way they speak, the language, the words used, we are trying to make it as localized as possible. And I think that is one of the key areas for students to onboard and really believe in AI as a new tech to support them. So that's one area of major leaps we're taking. Another area where we believe will help diverse population of India is something called integrated curriculum. So integrated curriculum is basically where there are no restrictions to what subjects you learn and what sequence you learn those subjects. In a college setting, let's say engineering or medical college, it's very clear, it's very defined. Year one you do certain things, year two you do certain things, and then three, year four. But in medical education, while that is still the way it has been done, recently the NMC also mandated that there should not be such restrictions. There should be students should be able to keep learning the way they prefer to learn. So let's say that I'm learning about the nervous system, and then I suddenly stumble upon a problem where I have to be exposed to the skeletal structure, but then that's a subject for next year. So I just go back to what I learned this year. But with VR and with AI, since you've already built the entire engine behind, now students can learn based on curiosity, learn based on the direction that they prefer to take. We have something called VR anatomy, which is basically an entire human body in a classroom. And then students can put on the headset, dissect the body, split the body, and then go from the nervous system to the skeletal structure and vice versa. So this way they get to play around a lot. And surprisingly, their ability to consume content, consume knowledge is also quite high. We have for some reason decided that this is the ceiling, but there are students in volumes that breaks those ceilings and learn much much faster. And it's something that even at a Montessori school education system level, it's been done. Like we in a Montessori school, mostly you will find if you put your kid in the school, they'll probably join at a level where the class actually consists of kids from year 4, 5, 6, and then the next batch will be kids from 7, 8, 9 together. And the reason why that is done is you don't have to let the students know that, okay, this is how much you can learn in this age, right? Probably they can learn much faster. So when you put a elder kid next to them, their ability to learn and their idea of how much they can consume entirely changes. And that is again something we are doing with AI, and that's why I believe this diverse population of India will definitely be benefited from.
So actually, my next question was to share an example of how AI is assisting in school education, but you have given a lot of examples. So I'll not be asking that question because that is already covered. So since you are a CEO of a company which is working in healthcare education, so how can emerging technologies like AI and VR be thoughtfully integrated into India's skilling and innovation ecosystem? Like from your experience as a CEO in healthcare education, what role do these tools play in advancing national missions like Skill India or Digital India? And how can startups like yours bridge the gap between innovation and large scale impact?
Rishan, that's a great question. I will try my best to answer that because it is very layered. So I think to answer a question like that, what we should understand first is we need to move beyond the idea that technology by itself will solve all of our skilling and employment challenges. Technology is just a tool. Technologies like AI and VR are powerful tools, but in isolation, they're still just tools. So what actually makes a difference is how we apply them, and are we solving pressing real world problems, and are we building content that's culturally and critically relevant. Are we reaching learners at the pace and at the volume that we're supposed to reach? I think these are major factors that really help decide the outcome. And as for example, at medicine we are, especially for nurses and healthcare workers, we are creating a very safe and repeatable environment where they can train on patients, train on environments, and practice the skill over and over again until they are confident about that. So that is a very, very key area of work for us because we understand that today nurses don't get the time or the luxury of doing a particular procedure, X amount of time. They're expected to move fast, they're expected to learn fast, they're expected to churn out more volumes, which means that it's very difficult for them to take a step back and learn something new and then go back into the ecosystem and provide that. So I think that's a key area for work for us because we've identified this is a problem. Similarly, identifying problems and making sure that we come up with a solution that can be scalable, it is super important. And that's where we support initiatives like Skill India by turning high risk responsibility training into something immersive. And when we design products for tier 2 and tier 3 rural setups, we provide, like I said, multilingual content, we provide analytics dashboard, and we make sure that students can train even offline. So in a way, our role as entrepreneurs is to make sure that this is future ready workforce isn't just digitally literate. Digital literacy can be created with a lot of existing platforms. But I think empowering that, creating more confidence, and creating a workforce that is globally competitive, I think these are areas where tech like AI and VR can actually enable and create more opportunity at the grassroots level.
I think that was a great answer. And your company, seeing your company working in rural areas and tier two and tier three cities, working towards achieving a kind of AI equality. Because currently what we are experiencing is that tier one cities do have kind of AI education, if I may say it like that. But if we go to tier two and especially the tier three cities, people are not that much into AI. So your company and you are working towards achieving that. So that's really great because not having AI currently is something that puts you in back. Someone who is actually using AI is totally moving forward and would have more pace than the ones who are fighting without AI. So in
Absolutely.
that sense, it's a really great initiative.
And And Nishat,
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick anecdote to that. Recently I had a student who came from a tier 3 city who happened to be in Chennai for an examination. And she walked into our office, she set up a meeting, and then she met my team, and then I was available, she met me. and she was telling us about how this AI-based simulation really, helped her in VR environment. And there were students in our class who didn't take it seriously. So she had the habit of journaling every single day after her experience about what she learned in that VR experience, and then showcase that journal to some of our classmates and peers. And then, she was basically as a single-handedly, she was able to drive the importance of the students getting exposed to newer tech and giving it a chance. And for us, that was a major story. And we can do as much as possible to set up this infra, set up the technology, train them. But if the utilization is not driven, then the impact is not going to be created. So we felt like, okay, fine, we all have to come together to make this happen.
Yeah, it's really great. And the story was really great. So, like, one more thing that I'd like to ask is that there's a lot of talk that has been going about AI being a game changer for India's development, especially in sectors like healthcare, education, agriculture, and public services. From your lens as a founder, building in healthcare training, where do you see AI making the most tangible difference today? And where is the hype ahead of reality? That's a very important thing because a lot of hype has also been created. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, an interesting area of discussion. There is no clear answer to this, Nishant. So I might disappoint you towards the end of this answer, but let me try. See, AI can be a game changer, no doubts about that. But the emphasis is AI can be a game changer. Just having AI doesn't mean that it's going to create great results, great impact. Absolutely not. Because there is another key area that is often been overseen, overlooked, and that is the infra. To build great AI, you need good infra. To disperse great AI, you need it, and to use great AI, you need infra. And in education and healthcare, what we are seeing is that AI becomes meaningful only when it's embedded into the workflow, like I previously mentioned. Whether it's like tracking a learner's experience or offering personalized feedback or simulating complex patient scenarios, all of this is possible only if the infra is great and if it's embedded into their workflow seamlessly. So what I would like to mention is AI doesn't create value in vacuum. What creates value is the ability to integrate AI into the human processes. And this is something where we've done all the mistakes possible. We have gone and pitched an entire VR lab without understanding the complex scenarios of student timetabling. And we have spoken about how AI can help the instructor without realizing the instructor focuses on a different area. And we have set up huge labs without understanding, per student usage hours that is going to come out of the lab. So there are a lot of these operational and infrastructure challenges that definitely has to be seen with equal value when you talk about the impact AI is going to create. So yes, AI is definitely accelerating innovation, but it's not replacing jobs. It's about to raise the floor of the competency and raise the floor of access to all the users. And if we really get this right, as a society, there's going to be a lot of economic benefits. There's a lot of opportunities we'll create, and I think all of us are holding hands to work towards this particular outcome.
I think you, in very start, mentioned of before answering this question that I will be disappointed after listening to this answer, but actually it was the opposite. I am more
Okay.
educated after this answer. And what I could figure out with this answer is that, AI should not be seen in isolation, that AI is some panacea and it will come and treat everything there. You need to have proper infrastructure, you need to have proper support system even to support AI. And
Absolutely.
I was going through a book. I don't know exactly remember the name of the book, but it was someone, I think it was of like Plato's. And there was kind of a conversation that was being done between the god of technology and the king of Egypt, if I'm not wrong. So god of technology comes and offers a lot of technology to the king, but the king actually declines that, saying that only technology cannot transform our lives. We need to also be trained and also be in a place to use it ethically, because we do see that AI is changing a lot of landscape, a lot of things, But at the same time, we also be should be aware about the negativities that the AI can create. So that will not be
Absolutely.
possible if you don't have proper ecosystem, proper support system to actually push forward the ethical usage of any kind of technology. I'm not talking about AI. So
Exactly.
yeah, that was a great answer actually. So
Thank you.
and finally, I'll be ending this discussion because you have bored me a lot. So without any taking your further time, so I'd like to ask you about your startup journey. So what advice would you like to give to Indian startups or entrepreneurs looking to harness AI for societal good, especially in the education and healthcare sector, and what partnerships or the government policies have been most instrumental in supporting your journey and that can help them too?
Yes. Ishan, so I would like to start off by saying that I've worked with a lot of Indian technologists, Indian entrepreneurs. We are very passionate about what we're building, and nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, from personal experience, the passion about what we are building sort of clouds over your discretion of, what is actually required at the market level. So, simply put, we sometimes get more tech driven, more product driven than be problem driven or solution driven. So, I think one of the areas where I spent a lot of time to learn is where I was holding on to my technology because it was the best technology. It was sacrosanct for me, and I was trying to make it better. This feature, that feature. You will often see me and my co-founders talk about how can we make that 10% better, 20% better. But no, I think it took some external advisors who came on board and advised us, saying that, listen, you need to stop all of this exploration, discovery at some point and really go into the market and see what will the stakeholders and what will the users need. And are you at that stage right now? So I think the first advice is, don't fall in love with what you're building, because you need to be able to create the MVP, you need to be able to create a commercial model around it, and you need to be very closer to the ground so that you understand and take the feedback and reiterate. Because you might have like 100 members of excellent technologists, but they are still wrong when one user feels like, this didn't work well in the tech, right? So that's one. And the second thing is, I think for us, what really helped a lot is our integration into the ecosystem itself. We were part of the IIT Madras incubation ecosystem, and we worked very closely with the Tamil Nadu state government. We participated in Tamil Nadu state government grants. We also applied to Department of Science and Technology's BIRAC grant, again, a major grant towards biotechnology and any sort of medical technology. So there are plenty of opportunities available there for entrepreneurs to first of all integrate into the ecosystem. That is very, very important. Financial support, technology guidance, all of that comes next. But to be aware of what's the kind of developer builder mentality you're being a part of, you have to be in an ecosystem. And that's a major boost to any startup's growth. Secondly, of course, to always look out for opportunities for competitions, programs, grants. There are a lot of government support right now in Startup India Mission and the Skill India Mission. There are tax benefits that the startups can get. And under MSME, there are other, security benefits, financial security benefits they get. And through Atal Innovation Centers and Atal Labs, you get access to great talent. There are students now working on great ideas, even at second year, third year college. So I would strongly recommend that any entrepreneur should be a part of these ecosystems and constantly try writing to all these competition, all these grants. We applied to, I think, 7 8 grants before we got a few of them. And government of India is doing a major push in the direction. It is probably not visible because they don't market it the way other products are marketed. But as entrepreneurs, it is our responsibility to go navigate this and get to the right opportunities. At the central level, at the state level, there are plenty of opportunities that are being provided, and this is something that really helped me a lot in my journey.
Yeah, that's it. That was a great journey. And I think I'm more educated after this podcast because I had a brief idea about AI, but going into depth is somewhat that I did not get a chance to. But after this podcast, I think I am more educated and I can now go and learn about AI and read about AI more. Hope I did not bore you much and you
No,
also
not at all.
enjoyed this
It,
conversation.
I thoroughly enjoyed this, Nishant. Thank you for making this as informal as possible. And you've been very kind, made me feel very comfortable, and such nice words. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabarish, for joining us. Thank you. It was
All
really
right.
great
Have a
hosting
good
you.
day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.